Hey everybody, welcome back to the Go Talks. Every episode drops on Friday. Do you know that? So check that out. Metafy.gg. And of course you can check out every single highlight of every episode on our very own Luminosity Smash YouTube channel. In this episode, I welcome the best Pikachu player in the world.
Finally.
ShinyMark. My papu bro. ¿Cómo estás?
Papito,
How are you?
¿cómo estás, amigo? Muchísimas gracias por tenerme. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a long ride till I could finally call myself the best Pika, and it's actually really exciting to be called that by you. Like, it's an honor. So, thank you, man. Been a long time fan, and thank you for having me, of course.
Hey, don't worry about that. I mean, you earned that title, right? You earned the title of being the best Pikachu. And how could I not say it, bro? You've beaten me like a couple times before, so it's like, dude, you're a hard opponent, like best Pikachu for sure.
Up and
But
coming
how's
right
it?
now, yeah.
But like, how's it going, bro? Like, is there anything new?
So honestly, ever since Maza, which was honestly at this point probably my best performance at a major, I've been kind of chilling, like I've been between just spending time with my girlfriend, playing some stuff casually, catching up on university and stuff. And lastly, just practicing as usual. Like lately I've been preparing a little bit more for Spargo and Meister specifically, which are some big threats that I definitely am struggling to get over, like most people do. But other than that, I'm just chilling, vibing, I'm thankful for everything that's been happening and, just vibing with life.
Nice, that's awesome, dude. I hope like the college life is going well. And dude, would you say Spargo and Meister are like your hardest opponents right now?
Yeah, I haven't played like every single top player, or like I mean like the super 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 top ones, like top 10 players. I think so far, I played a good five. I have three top 10 wins right now. I think I have, you, Gluttony, and Spargo. I beat him at a local recently, but dude, those two by far between Game and Watch being a bad matchup, and then Spargo being ridiculous at the matchup. He's insanely goated at the matchup. Uh, they definitely feel like the biggest walls for me. And I feel like between the other top players, it's not like I feel like I'll just beat them, but in terms of matchups, they are much more chill. Like light. Fox loses to Pikachu kind of comfortably for me. I think Pikachu beats Diddy Kong, for example, for Tweak. So stuff like that is kind of like what I mean.
Yeah, I feel like you're always being like the Pikachu player that's always like hyping up Pikachu. That's really hype. And dude, you mentioned something really important, like your top 10 wins, right?
Yeah,
I want to talk about one in specific, the Gluttony one
yeah,
at Delfino. He has been known, and like, I mean, I'm gonna kind of like tell you this between us, but like, since he plays Enki a lot, he's like, oh, I'm very good at the matchup, and
yeah.
like, he's been in ESAM before, right? So he came up very confident against you, and dude, the fact that you beat him, like, I don't know, that was very impressive to watch.
For
So
sure.
yeah, like, I just want to talk about it.
So yeah, no, I've been aware that I think he's also one of the best players in the world against Pikachu. I just didn't mention him between like Meister and Spargo because it felt way more doable. Because I definitely did my studying. I think Pikachu beats him in the matchup. But he knows all the Pikachu tricks, dude. Like I was trying to catch him with some fake drag downs or like tight fake drag downs. Like a lot of people don't get out of them, and he was just swinging. He was reversaling me. He was mixing DI, SDI really well. And Enki told me about that. Like he was like, I'm pretty sure he hasn't dropped any sets to any Pikachu in Smash Ultimate ever. Like neither Neros, neither Enki. And last ESM set was pretty bad for ESM, I think.
Oh, dude, like your game plan against Glutol was just so. I know people will probably like make a lot of fun of it, but like I think it was just like I remember talking about it with you before the matchup, and
Yeah,
like seeing you execute it after you talked about it with me, it was like it was perfect. Like you literally did everything you told me. Like you camped the ledge, you went for the stalling off stage, you like went under the stage. You were very good at mixing up your up beats back on the
the
stage,
angles. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and of course the drag downs, dude. So like um with this, I want to get to the point where like you were camping Wario really hard, like everybody
Yeah,
should, right?
correct.
So there's this tweet from very recently, literally after Gluttony won Terra, because of course, I mean, he
Yeah.
killed Tweak at like 40%. But you said that, but please, we need to camp Wario out harder, everybody. Like we really do, and like every single thing you described, this heavy ass infinite aim ability, ass with an insane disadvantage plus combat mechanic at best, and 60% combos at worst. Like you know the vibes. I do
That's so
agree,
true.
and there's something else to add in here. Plus comeback mechanic, but dude, sometimes he has it. I mean, he has it, and like he's winning, right? Because
Yeah.
it works with time. Like he can like beat you really hard, or he can just like, oh, like I can always make it back. So
If he's beating you really hard, it's GG's at that point.
yeah. So you always been like the kind of person that talks a lot about the meta, right? Like you always talk about the tier list, you always talk about like how you can improve and like tech, how you can apply it. So I just want you to explain a little bit about that game plan. Like what's your thought process with Pika? What's the game plan?
For Gluto specifically,
Like in general,
in general, okay.
because I know you're the player that like goes for the timeout most of the time,
Yeah.
but that's like something Pikachu specific. So
So I think I've been talking to Isam about this for a while. We have this little group chat with H4, the other best Pikachu, and Isam. Um, H4 more known to be campy for the longest time. I was kind of in the middle between Isam's aggressiveness and H4's campiness. And Isam, as you know, is like very, very aggressive and very read based, which is hard to replicate because like he has so much experience, you know. So I think that's something that very, very few players can do. But I feel like a read based playstyle in this meta is not really that good to maintain consistency, if that makes sense, right? So what I thought is I'm not really trying to just time out from zero, you know. And I'm pretty sure like the other player that comes to mind that uses timeout as a big strategy is obviously Sonics. I'm pretty sure he doesn't actually try to time out people from zero. He uses it as an active threat, you know, like he plays the game plan correctly for a long time. He doesn't really take risks, and between top level in top level play, you know, there's a lot of moments where minutes pass at a time where like neither is taking like big neutral risks. No one's doing like a lot of damage. You know, a lot of is not really happening. It's just a lot of conditioning. You know, and that's where I think Pikachu really shines because he's really good at like poking people with Thunder Jolt. You know, like making stuff happen without really taking risks. If the opponent is defensive about it, he can, for example, like get close a little bit and then the opponent retreats and I'm like, okay, maybe if I want to get this neutral win, I have to like take a risk, but I can always just do the less risky route and only like take stage control and play it from there, you know. So that's kind of like where I feel I really made my money in the Pikachu game plan. It's just like making stuff happen slowly, not really doing risks when I don't really need to, and then if people take those risks, I optimize my combo game a ton, you know, so that if they make a mistake, I am getting a good, like at least 30-40% plus advantage state. At most, I'm getting 60% combos, death combos, sending you off stage and like making you scared if you might die or get gimped, you know. Um, and also, then Pikachu, if nothing's really happening, then the time ticks. Pikachu has a lot of mobility, and as you saw, the quick attacks are really, really broken to just get away from people. And then if you commit, you are like, I need to approach Pikachu. He has all the tools to just like stop you and like snowball it harder and harder. You know, it's just kind of hard to do consistently, if that makes sense.
yeah, your advantage state is still crazy too. Like the stuff you're talking about, like oh, I try to work it out slowly, right? But the thing
Yeah,
is that you're also very good at those conversions that like you can get the bridge, you can get a zero to death, you can get like the drag downs. It's crazy. Maybe I'm like starting to see the light. Pikachu is I
that
mean,
Pikachu
yeah, Pikachu broke it, bro.
is
Yeah.
really, really. I think he's top one currently. I think that might be a little bit of me gaslighting myself, which honestly is useful, like for you to trust yourself and just like know that you can give it a little extra, you know,
Mm,
knowing that if you lose, it's yourself, not your character, you know.
yeah.
But I think he's at least in the conversation of being really close to like the other super meta threats and like Steve, Sonic. I think Game and Watch is rising a ton recently, and those type of characters, you know,
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you will figure it out, bro. Like
for
I
sure.
have no doubts. So yeah, what are your worst matchups? I guess. I know you posted a matchup chart recently for 2023
Hmm.
in January, like at the start of the year. So have your opinion changed, like about it?
I tried making one kind of recently. I actually did like half of it in like Twitch, but then I kind of got overwhelmed by college and just couldn't finish it, and I forgot to save the VOD, so it's gone. But
Oh,
like from what I remember, um,
um,
the
I got it right here. If you wanna hear what you put in here.
is it like
Oh,
the half finished one or the start of the year one?
oh, the start of the year one.
Okay, yeah, I think my opinions changed like very, very slightly. It's honestly just like half a placing or like a few matchups, you know. But from your initial question of like what matchups Pikachu loses right now, I think in definitive, Game and Watch is like the main losing one. But I'm starting to think that with optimized timeout strategies, it could become maybe not even, but since Game and Watch is like really slow, he doesn't really have that many mix-ups for approaches. He's kind of linear in that sense, you know. Um, I feel like if you get a good enough lead against him, you can really snowball out really, really hard, and sometimes just auto win from the clock, you know. And I think that's just such a strength for Pikachu. It's not really that I love to play like that, um, but I definitely come from a mindset of do whatever you need to do for winning, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so I think that's like the main one, and that's the answer. And then Ness was the other big one. I think ESAM currently still thinks it's like -1, -2, which I totally disagree with. I think it's even nowadays. And I proved it by beating Send and Gact offline. I think I have a perfect offline Ness record at the moment. So yeah,
Crazy, bro. You're proving everybody wrong about this character. That's very cool. Nice. I'm looking forward
studying.
to the I mean hard work. That's
Yeah,
basically it. So I'm looking forward to the next matchup chart. I might learn from it. I need to hear your opinion about the Joker, but I'll wait for your matchup chart. Going back to the topic, from beating Gluto, Delfino, probably like if I'm not mistaken, your best tournament like at
so
this
far, yeah,
moment. Yeah, so far. Yeah, so with a third place, beating a lot of very good players, winner semis, you beat the Sky J, who beat me. Then before getting top eight, you got Gluttony, and before that you got Gagged. Very good
yeah,
bracket. We already talked about the matchup, and well, placing third, bro. That's crazy. Uh,
yeah.
that's you also outplaced me. That's man,
Yeah,
getting sketchy.
honestly, that's funny thing. Like I think there's a few placings right now that are arguable for my best one because I did top 8 collision, that was an S tier, and I top 8ed Smash Factor last year, which was like an S plus or S tier, I'm not sure. But honestly, Delfino felt much harder, honestly, and much more stacked. And obviously I placed higher placement wise. Um and yeah, whenever I beat you in collision or like whenever something like outplacing like another top player happens in Guatemala, they don't really care about my placing. They're like, "How did he outplay some Leo? How do you like?" You know, one really funny thing happened when collision happened. I beat Andres and Fen in top 64. And when I came back to Guatemala, some people told me, "How is it that you beat Andres FN and not Spargo?" And I'm like, "Bro,
the YouTube power, bro. It holds too much power. That's
Andres FN
crazy.
is my goat." But yeah, the YouTube brain rot, dude. A
Yeah,
lot of people
dude.
are not like super informed on like what the actual top placings are, you know.
For sure. Oh, damn. Yeah, I remember that question I wanted to ask you.
Hmm.
Um, you beat Luton winners, but then in the runback losers finals, uh, he got you.
Yeah,
So I kind of want to talk about about that game because of course he like something changed, right? So could we
for
talk a
sure.
little bit about it?
So, I think there's a mix of things. He definitely adapted. One thing I want to say of the first set is that I went up 2-0, right? I'm pretty sure he wasn't expecting um like me being that polished in the matchup. Like I really went through some VODs of like especially like the Isam loss and saw where he was getting a lot of neutral wins, where Isam was dying a ton, and I went up 2-0 pretty comfortably, actually. I think I even two-stocked him the second game. But then the third and the fourth game, he started camping back really, really, really hard, to the point where he was just like jumping in place or backwards, never forwards, basically. He wasn't really committing. So I was doing my same game plan of the first two games, and I realized that at like the fourth game, I was like, okay, I have to make some changes. I have to really make some drastic measures happen, and that's where I got the timeout on the fifth game, right? So I was having that in mind for the second set, but at that point he had the initial game plan that worked for him in the third and fourth game, and that was much harder for me to adapt. And also, the other unfortunate part for me was the pro controller RNG is really, really annoying because at the start of the set we were going like back and forth really, really solidly. But then I don't know if you remember the set or if you even saw it, but there was a point where I threw a random forward smash in neutral, and that was just the interference. So at that point, I was like in my head, like nothing really happened. He didn't really punish me, but I was like, okay, not again, bro. Like this is gonna mess me up right now. And I think the game was still like last hit. I'm pretty sure there was another game that was last hit, but I was definitely a lot more hesitant and doubting myself a lot more because of that. But he did the measures that he had to. He took some really good risks, some great adaptations. And at this point of the meta, at this point of this game's lifespan, I don't think it's a really valid John for me to complain about controllers. It's just annoying. So, 20 viewers at home, don't switch to Pro Controller. Stay with the GameCube one. Right now, I'm not making the switch because it's like hard on my hands, and I'm just really accustomed to it. But I'm looking for solutions like literally right now. I'm talking to different controller modders to see if I can get like a wired, consistent Pro Controller because it's annoying, and I feel like I'm really rising as an up and comer kind of fast. But that stopping me is really demotivating me. So I just need to like stop worrying about that in the future.
Yeah, dude, that's so unfortunate.
It's annoying.
Yeah, that's it's very annoying. Hopefully, like
Generally. Mhm.
I've seen the pro controllers that like are been getting better, but I've seen like a lot of different players like getting annoyed with it. That
Yeah,
damn dude, that must suck. More in like a character like Pikachu that needs to be like
really
super
precise.
precise. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's the main thing. I tried some controllers and they are wired. They get read in the Nintendo Switch as a GameCube controller. But the thing is, the coordinates on like the analog stick are different between the GameCube controller and the Pro controller, right? So even if you literally have a Pro controller in your hand, like this right here is a Pro GCC, right? This is literally a Pro controller, but the analog stick gets read as a GameCube controller. That thing specifically changes angles a little bit, and that little bit messes me up so much. Like between the up B angles, I do turn on up tilts with a macro, with the like upper part of the upper diagonal part of the stick, and that changes a little bit. So that also messes me up. So the loops are not as precise. Air drift is a little bit less precise with the upper bridges, for example. Um, and there's just I'm a pretty technical player. So like sometimes when that happens, it really gets to my head and really messes me up. And from
mm,
what I've heard, players like Chase or like Akola have also had issues with other pro controllers or just like the
mm,
main one with interference and stuff.
yeah.
And it's just rough. Honestly, at some points it feels like RNG.
Yeah, dude, but like you said, it's like so late to change to GameCube
It's hard.
controller. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's man, now I feel privileged, bro, that that doesn't happen to me.
No, you made the correct call. That's GG's good call.
Nice. But going back to the Gluto match,
Mhm.
yeah, I guess you talked about like the way he adapted and the controller RNG stuff. But how would you like you don't have to like give the strategy in here, of course not. We're gonna
Yeah.
keep it low key, but like I'm pretty sure you're already working on a game plan, right? Like you still feel like that matchup like against Wario is doable even if Gluto's playing it that way?
Yeah, like I think matchup knowledge kind of caps at a certain point at top level, to the point where you end up playing a lot of player versus player, and that's where if both players really know the matchup, that's where you really see the matchup ratios. Um, so in my opinion, Pikachu still beats Wario by a little bit. It's just really tight, really slow because like of the tweet that you mentioned, like he's heavy, really good disadvantage, really broken comeback mechanic. So you gotta take it slow, bro. Like when I was seeing Tweak play against Gluttony, it felt like at the end I don't really blame him because the situation was so tense. It was grand finals game 5, but he was still taking a good amount of risks in my opinion. Where I feel like you can just kind of play a more like stationary game, more walling game, and I think the key to my gameplay for that, for like playing kind of lame, I guess, to like waste time and just be like extremely safe is kind of identify what the win con for my opponent is in terms of like a combo starter, that could kill me, or kill move. For example, with Pyra, a big one that I'm always looking for is like the downer, obviously, right? Identifying like the unreactable range of that and just completely play around that. I'm more of a player that, and I'm pretty sure most top players are like this, more of a player that plays to not get hit by stuff and just let opportunities happen naturally, rather than one that tries to like close it out and like condition for a big hit. I feel like that's a much more consistent way to play in this meta. So yeah, that's kind of like the big main game plan. And if he decides to not approach me, that's fine. I have the better poking tools. I have my -4 down tilt, ridiculous. I have my rising -5 multi hit fair that shield
Yeah.
pokes. I have my thunder jolts that can be like +8, +10. I'm pretty sure at times, which is insane. So you have to like jump, you have to shield, you have to roll, you have to hit it. So I'm just making stuff happen. And if you decide not to, I can poke at you safely. I can shield poke you eventually. I can take stage control, and the time will tick. And if you don't do something about it, you know the vibes.
You know the vibes, bro. You know you're getting time on. I
For
love that
sure.
meme, bro. I love that,
It's
bro.
so funny.
Yeah,
It's
it's
great.
so funny. Yeah, it's great. Probably one of the best memes in the Smash community for sure.
It made Sonic's brand so much more lovable for him. So
Yeah.
that was the play.
Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget that you will watch us next week here on Metafight.gg. And well, see you next week.